What's going on, wonderful people out there? May you have a positive, prosperous, blessed day. And may whatever God you believe in have mercy on your soul. For those of you guys who have one, others may not. It's optional, right? Right, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, this particular video is going to be about from your favorite non-belligerent, non-combatant, treaty with the United States, Lord of Levitica, private citizen, James C. of the House of Lovett. Let's take a look at what we got going on. See, one of the things too, guys, is also like I enjoy okay, so real talk. If I were to do this all over again, would I still put my name out there and have people be able to like attack me and whatever else? Yeah, I would. Because I don't need to go by like some hidden name. Of course, the Badwolf is the mind state. It's a moniker. It's a totem. Okay. That's why I said all of you guys need to be bad wolves out there. But if you guys see people out there hiding their real name and who they are, then how can you really trust what they are? See, I made that decision that if I was going to hide my face and just talk, or wear some things you can't see who I really am, or use a name you can't tell who I really am in the real world because that's where I live. I do this for real. This is not just for show, though it is entertainment. Um, how can you trust somebody when you don't have a good understanding of who they are? This is really this is my house. This is what I do. It's my James Love's my real name. I've never hidden that. Not since day one. I don't hide myself behind makeup and lights and glasses and fancy garb and whatever else. When I feel like making a video, I jump in. I mean, look right here. There's a pile of my shirts right here. I literally take them off, throw them over. This is me living as a natural person. You don't see me attacking people, even if I don't like somebody's channel or what they're saying or them attacking me, clapping at me first. You don't see me clapping back with all that. The people who I have scenarios with or situations that I don't like or they're scammers or whatever else, I don't put it on here. That's my choice. To me, it's more important to talk about the knowledge in these books and how you guys can live better than that. That's just me. No disrespect to anybody else who wants to do that, even if people don't like me who do that to me. If people ask me in the private what I think of certain people, then I will tell them because some things are meant for the private. I'm not going to give in to the maritime political jurisdiction, the mind state, the civil and social engineering that they do, that they want us to fight amongst ourselves to be just like them. And I'm sorry. I know like some people I love my girl, like, oh, well, nobody's better than other people. I wish I could say that. I can't agree with that. I think maybe as a soul, maybe we're all, because in an energy level, we're all the same. But how that soul inside of you wills you to do these things, we're not the same. Good people don't do these things. So I disagree. And I know that in this new world, everything is, you're not supposed to say what I'm about to say, but we're not all the same. And there are some people who are better than other people. I said it. You know why I said it? Because in America, you have the right to say these things. And I'm not afraid of people not liking me for saying the truth. With that being said, don't forget to join me on Black Site 32. Hit that bell, like, subscribe, join, and get the newsletter so that I can email you guys. And I rarely do. But if you want to know where I'm going, what I'm doing, or special offers, or what platforms I might be on in case I, leave YouTube or something like that, you guys will be able to find where I'm at. Okay. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So everybody have a great day. Let's get started. Let's get it started in here. All right. So in this particular video, we are going to be talking about all of the amendments. Okay. All of the amendments. All right. So we're going to jump into that in 1 second. Let me just get some things set up here. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay. Share that screen over there. Make sure that that's on. Okay. And see if it'll do it from here.
First Amendment. First Amendment explained. Second Amendment.
Okay. And it's supposed to read the whole thing there. And
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Second Amendment. Second Amendment explained. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed. Third Amendment. Third Amendment explained. No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house, without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Fourth Amendment. Fourth Amendment explained. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects, against unreasonable searches and seizures, shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched, and the persons or things to be seized. Fifth Amendment. Fifth Amendment explained. No person shall be held to answer for a capital, or otherwise infamous crime, unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces, or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself.
so a cop, when he's talking to you, he's trying to get you to be a witness against yourself. You have the right to not give them any of that information, hence where we get the I plead the fifth from.
Himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property, without due process of law.
They just told you nobody shall be deprived of their life, liberty, or property without due process. Federal rules of civil procedure. They have to have a warrant. That is part of your due process. Otherwise, they're operating as judge, jury, and executioner, which is a violation of your rights and liberties under the Separation of Powers Act and the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure because you didn't get your due process. Nor shall private property. This means anything. Your house, your car, your whatever. All those things are supposed to be private. So how do they do it? Is because you have them registered under your legal name as a resident, which is a U.S. citizen, not a national. That's why you need to come up with a national name, a private trust. All that stuff is in foreign. That means they can't touch it. It means it's not taxable. But even if you do have it private and they take it, that's a violation of your rights. And they have to compensate you. Equal or greater.
Law, nor shall private property be taken for public use, without just compensation. Sixth Amendment. Sixth Amendment explained. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial, by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. Seventh Amendment. Seventh Amendment explained. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law.
Oh, hey, judges. Hey, lawyers. This is constitutional law, right? Common law, right? It's not real. It's archaic. We don't use it anymore. Aren't you guys bound by the Seventh Amendment? You have the right to do things private, but you cannot deprive somebody of their constitutional rights, constitutional law, common law, private rights, freedom of religion, privacy. And these are your enumerated rights. They created these Bill of Rights additionally because they sat around and said, whoa, wait a minute, we didn't cover some areas. We need to limit the federal government and the states from doing too much because these people came from a whole nother country here, pushed the people that were here off their land, stole part of their Constitution, the Native American Constitution that they've developed over thousands of years, developed it into this one that we lay out before us because they knew that the government can be overbearing, bloated, and start to subjugate the people. We have to protect them.
Law. Eighth Amendment.
Because they went through it over in Britain. Queen. That's why they did all this. They took some from there, some from the Native Americans here, and made what we have. That's why it's unique here versus many other places, because we in our private are not property. But we can waive it. We can join that membership and be subject while in the act thereof. Keep going.
Amendment. Eighth Amendment explained. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Ninth Amendment. Ninth Amendment explained. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people.
Okay, hold on. This is a gem drop here. I made a private video for the Wolf Pack a little bit on this. The enumeration in the Constitution, meaning the numbering of it, of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others, meaning other rights retained by the people. So they're saying that, look, just because we didn't number all of the rights you possibly may have, or there may be new rights in the future now, cough, cough, right to travel, cough, that we didn't specifically say in here does not mean you don't get them. If you, the people, think it's a right, you should have it. This shall not be construed to deny or disparage other rights retained by the people. You have more rights than are listed here, but you have to know how to invoke them. Let's keep going.
People. 10th Amendment. 10th Amendment explained. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people.
Or to the people. So the power that has not been delegated to the United States, all of us, the whole system, the lower states, the de facto states, the organic, by this Constitution up above, we went through in the last video, nor prohibited by it to the states, okay, the lower states, are reserved to the states respectively, meaning you guys can have your freedoms to do a lot of things, even if we don't talk about them here, which is how they abridged a lot of the laws and stuff of the Constitution. but you have it. Or to the people. So they gave us power right here to do a lot of things. The 9th and 10th, there's a lot of power in these two.
People. 11th Amendment. 11th Amendment explained. The judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity, commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state, or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. 12th Amendment. 12th Amendment explained. The electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for president and vice president, one of whom, at least, shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. They shall name in their ballots the person voted for as president, and in distinct ballots the person voted for as vice president, and they shall make distinct lists of all persons voted for as president, and of all persons voted for as vice president, and of the number of votes for each, which lists they shall sign and certify, and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all the certificates and the votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes for president shall be the president, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed. And if no person have such majority, then from the persons having the highest numbers not exceeding 3 on the list of those voted for as president, the House of Representatives shall choose immediately, by ballot, the president. But in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by states, the representation from each state having 1 vote. A quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states, and a majority of all the states shall be necessary to a choice. And if the House of Representatives shall not choose a president whenever the right of choice shall devolve upon them, before the 4th day of March next following, then the vice president shall act as president, as in case of the death or other constitutional disability of the president. The person having the greatest number of votes as vice president shall be the vice president, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if no person have a majority, then from the 2 highest numbers on the list, the Senate shall choose the vice president. A quorum for the purpose shall consist of 2/3 of the whole number of senators, and a majority of the whole number shall be necessary to a choice. But no person constitutionally ineligible to the office of president shall be eligible to that of vice president of the United States. 13th Amendment. 13th Amendment explained. Section 1. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States, or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Section 2. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation.
Another powerful amendment right here. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude. What is involuntary servitude? That is where they make you do something without pay, which is called peonage, a federal offense. Except, so they can't make you do anything if you know who and what you are. Because if they do, it's either slavery or involuntary servitude. They don't have control over you unless you waive it by either verbal or your acquiescence, contract, which comes in the form of asking for a license. They can't do any of these things to you except as a punishment for a crime where that person or party have been duly convicted of a crime, federal level, an actual crime and they've done their due process without any violations to this point.
Legislation. 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment explained. Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States.
So you can be born or naturalized here. Okay?
States, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States.
So if you're born here, you're the national. If you're naturalized here, meaning you came from somewhere else, you came here, because how the law is written, you get both. You get citizenship and you get nationality. If you don't know that, your fault. Thanks for playing. You get both. But let's go on. So once again, I said citizens of the United States means all of the classifications underneath this jurisdiction. It's not one thing. It doesn't say citizen of the United States, it says citizens, meaning there's multiple citizenships. Citizenships of the United States is how it should be written. You got natural, you got born, you got federal. Oh, but Wolf, they didn't mention state. Haha, we got you, Wolf. They didn't mention anything about being a state citizen. You are correct. I guess we'll have to go on.
States and of the state wherein they reside.
Oh, there it is. And of the state. Here's your state citizen. Wherein they reside. There it is. Whatever state they reside in, Floridian, New Yorker, Californian, or U.S. citizen, all go underneath the term citizens of the United States, but they specifically made it and of the state wherein they reside. That is your state citizenship right there. Whether it's D.C. or Florida as a Floridian, state citizen is synonymous with the word national. That's where you're from.
Reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States.
They cannot create laws, codes, statutes, edicts, regulations that deprive you of your privileges or immunities. And if they do, you have the right to ignore them with impunity. However, that officer, that judge, or whoever else may not have read the 14th Amendment to know these things. So do not be a belligerent or a combatant. Exercise your right by telling them, I'm exercising my right of constitutional law and enacting the 14th Amendment. But let's see what else that they shall not do.
Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty.
So they are not supposed to take your life. And yet some of these officers are. Some of them are not properly trained, but they deprived you of your right. You have a right to sue them. It says right here, you have the right to not have your life removed, unalived. Let's go on. Let's get it right. So we have to go cover it.
Liberty or property without due process of law.
So remember, police officers are private law enforcement for the public. Sheriffs are constitutional, or they should be, unless they've gone corporate, and then they're held to the same things. But none of them can do that without your due process. You do not have to help them convict yourself unless you want to. Like them brothers on the first 48 who be in the room and they bring in some chicken and some Hawaiian punch. Then they get the ratting on themselves. Facts. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. As real as TV is, you know. All right, let's keep going.
Law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Section 2. Representatives shall be apportioned among the several states.
Representatives shall be apportioned, distributed among the several states. The organic. They are there to represent you. They are represented.
States according to their respective numbers, counting the whole number of persons in each state, excluding Indians not taxed. But when the right to vote at any election for the choice of electors for President and Vice President of the United States, representatives in Congress, the executive and judicial officers of a state, or the members of the legislature thereof, is denied to any of the male inhabitants of such state, being 21 years of age, and citizens of the United States, or in any way abridged, except for participation in rebellion or other crime, the basis of representation therein shall be reduced, in the proportion which the number of such male citizens shall bear to the whole number of male citizens 21 years of age in such state. Section 3. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress, or elector of President and Vice President, or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States, or under any state, who, having previously taken an oath, as a member of Congress, or as an officer of the United States, or as a member of any state legislature, or as an executive or judicial officer of any state, to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may by a vote of 2/3 of each House, remove such disability. Section 4. The validity of the public debt of the United States, authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss or emancipation of any slave, but all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. Section 5. The Congress shall have power to enforce, by appropriate legislation, the provisions of this article. 15th Amendment. 15th Amendment explained. Section 1. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Section 2. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. 16th Amendment. 16th Amendment explained. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes, from whatever source derived, without apportionment among the several states, and without regard to any census or enumeration. 17th Amendment. 17th Amendment explained. The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, elected by the people thereof, for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. The electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislatures. When vacancies happen in the representation of any state in the Senate, the executive authority of such state shall issue writs of election to fill such vacancies, provided that the legislature of any state may empower the executive thereof to make temporary appointments until the people fill the vacancies by election as the legislature may direct. This amendment shall not be so construed as to affect the election or term of any senator chosen before it becomes valid as part of the Constitution. 18th Amendment. 18th Amendment explained. After 1 year from the ratification of this article, the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors within, the importation thereof into, or the exportation thereof from the United States and all territory subject to the jurisdiction thereof for beverage purposes is hereby prohibited. The Congress and the several states shall have concurrent power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of the several states, as provided in the Constitution, within 7 years from the date of the submission hereof to the states by the Congress. 19th Amendment. 19th Amendment explained. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. 20th Amendment. 20th Amendment explained. Section 1. The terms of the President and the Vice President shall end at noon on the 20th day of January, and the terms of Senators and Representatives at noon on the 3d day of January, of the years in which such terms would have ended if this article had not been ratified, and the terms of their successors shall then begin. Section 2. The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meeting shall begin at noon on the 3d day of January, unless they shall by law appoint a different day. Section 3. If, at the time fixed for the beginning of the term of the President-elect shall have died, the Vice President-elect shall become President. If a President shall not have been chosen before the time fixed for the beginning of his term, or if the President-elect shall have failed to qualify, then the Vice President-elect shall act as President until a President shall have qualified, and the Congress may by law provide for the case wherein neither a President-elect nor a Vice President-elect shall have qualified, declaring who shall then act as President, or the manner in which one who is to act shall be selected, and such person shall act accordingly until a President or Vice President shall have qualified. Section 4. The Congress may by law provide for the case of the death of any of the persons from whom the House of Representatives may choose a President whenever the right of choice shall have devolved upon them, and for the case of the death of any of the persons from whom the Senate may choose a Vice President whenever the right of choice shall have devolved upon them. Section 5. Sections 1 and 2 shall take effect on the 15th day of October following the ratification of this article. Section 6. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within 7 years from the date of its submission. 21st Amendment. 21st Amendment explained. Section 1. The 18th article of amendment to the Constitution of the United States is hereby repealed. Section 2. The transportation or importation into any state, territory, or possession of the United States for delivery or use therein of intoxicating liquors, in violation of the laws thereof, is hereby prohibited. Section 3. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by conventions in the several states, as provided in the Constitution, within 7 years from the date of the submission hereof to the states by the Congress. 22nd Amendment. 22nd Amendment explained. Section 1. No person shall be elected to the office of the President more than twice, and no person who has held the office of President, or acted as President, for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected President shall be elected to the office of the President more than once. But this article shall not apply to any person holding the office of President when this article was proposed by the Congress, and shall not prevent any person who may be holding the office of President, or acting as President, during the term within which this article becomes operative from holding the office of President or acting as President during the remainder of such term. Section 2. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within 7 years from the date of its submission to the states by the Congress. 23rd Amendment. 23rd Amendment explained. Section 1. The district constituting the seat of government of the United States shall appoint in such manner as the Congress may direct a number of electors of President and Vice President equal to the whole number of senators and representatives in Congress to which the district would be entitled if it were a state, but in no event more than the least populous state. They shall be in addition to those appointed by the states, but they shall be considered, for the purposes of the election of president and vice president, to be electors appointed by a state, and they shall meet in the district and perform such duties as provided by the 12th Article of Amendment. Section 2. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. 24th Amendment. 24th Amendment explained. Section 1. The right of citizens of the United States to vote in any primary or other election for president or vice president, for electors for president or vice president, or for senator or representative in Congress, shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state by reason of failure to pay any poll tax or other tax. Section 2. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. 25th Amendment. 25th Amendment explained. Section 1. In case of the removal of the President from office or of his death or resignation, the Vice President shall become President. Section 2. Whenever there is a vacancy in the office of the Vice President, the President shall nominate a Vice President who shall take office upon confirmation by a majority vote of both houses of Congress. Section 3. Whenever the President transmits to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that he is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, and until he transmits to them a written declaration to the contrary, such powers and duties shall be discharged by the Vice President as acting President. Section 4. Whenever the Vice President and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive departments or of such other body as Congress may by law provide, transmit to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the Vice President shall immediately assume the powers and duties of the office as acting President. Thereafter, when the President transmits to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that no inability exists, he shall resume the powers and duties of his office unless the Vice President and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive department or of such other body as Congress may by law provide, transmit within 4 days to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Thereupon Congress shall decide the issue, assembling within 48 hours for that purpose if not in session. If the Congress, within 21 days after receipt of the latter written declaration, or, if Congress is not in session, within 21 days after Congress is required to assemble, determines by 2/3 vote of both houses that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the Vice President shall continue to discharge the same as acting President, otherwise, the President shall resume the powers and duties of his office. 26th Amendment. 26th Amendment explained. Section 1. The right of citizens of the United States, who are 18 years of age or older, to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of age. Section 2. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. 27th Amendment. 27th Amendment explained. No law varying the compensation for the services of the senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened. Full text. Preamble.
All right. That is it. If you've made it this far, congratulate yourself because you have made it through the Bill of Rights. And if you watched the other video, then you've made it through the Constitution. So probably, maybe before the day is out, we'll have enough time and we're going to make a video on the Declaration of Independence, which I think we've done that one. Let me just double check. Either way, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thanks for listening. Like I said, I know it's not like super fire information that you necessarily need, but you should have learned that, like, now you understand there's a written process to how they're supposed to do things. And if they waver from that without permission, meaning from we the people, or so ruled upon by Congress, they're not doing things right. So as you see, our country is in a position where these people on the lower half, because there is no true ongoing judicial oversight. There's between the lower levels and the higher level, the real law, and then the corporate municipality government states. There's a disconnect. They entrusted them to do what they're doing the correct way, and these people are not. Mostly it's running pretty well, but there's a lot of bad stuff going on, put it that way. And the government can't get involved until you bring the problem up here to them. Then they can get involved on an individual basis. Otherwise, unless enough of us one day, which probably won't happen for a really long time, get together and understand what's really going on and what power we have to bring all of these problems to them and say, hey, it's messed up down here. Either we want them out, or we want a normal judicial overview, or we need change. Or we starve the beast. We don't play. We don't put our things in these legal names and whatever else. We do things privately. Then all of a sudden they're going to start losing money, and then they're going to start charging even more to the few people that are left. They're going to say, well, we want out too. Then they're going to say, okay, hold on. Let's work something out. Then we're going to have their attention. Till then, oh, we're getting fat off of you guys. You guys are slow and stupid because you don't realize what they're putting in your deodorants and in your food and in the water and in the air. No one's paying attention to it. Oh, let's look at the Super Bowl halftime show and look at all the whatever. Okay. I'm not saying you have to make all of this your daily life. And maybe you only picked out one or two things in there, but you've just become that much more stronger that they're not going to give you, because they would prefer you not to listen to me or learn or read or about any of this. Because why would you want to learn about your rights? Why do you want to learn about that they're not treating you right and that they should be held accountable, so that your life and your children, your children's children, your offspring, better word to use, and future generations can live a better life? Maybe you don't deserve it. You don't seem to want it. Who wants to be free? Have everything taken, paid for you, but then taken by you. No more houses to buy. You have to rent for the rest of your life. And then future generations will only rent. They'll say, what? There was a time you could buy your own house? You own your own land? You had your own car? Yeah, okay, whatever, Grandpa. We've gotten to a point where we've gotten so many of our rights and freedoms, and then we hit the cruise control, and these people who are driving us, like old dirty Uncle Merv the perv, they're taking advantage. But the power is in you. You had the power the entire time. What you decide to do with it is up to you. And if you do nothing, that's your choice. But if you do something with it, well, then you just might change the future. But they don't want you to. All right, guys, take care. I'll talk to you later. I got to jump on a consult. Peace. Badwolf.